CEO of the SmartCrete CRC, and welcome to Clinker Chat, a series where we have conversations with innovators that are driving the decarbonisation and sustainability agenda for concrete. Today we've got a really fantastic conversation for you. We're here at the home of Oasis Construction Group with director and founder Ash Quiddington. Thanks for joining us, Ash.
Thanks for having me, Claire.
We're on the lands of the Wadawurrung people, and we're really excited to see what innovations are happening in the 3D construction space. So Ash, can I start by understanding your background? What brought you into the construction world?
Absolutely. At the age of 15, I got offered the apprenticeship as a carpenter apprentice. It was a 4-year apprenticeship, and by the time I was qualified, I then started my own carpentry business called Ballarat Carpentry Service. I ran that for about 5 years. It was at that stage I put that on hold, went over to America, travelled around America for about 6 to 9 months, came back. And it was then I set my goal to become a registered building practitioner. That took 2 years. When got registered with the VBA. From there, I also opened up another business, Little Living Tiny Homes, where we constructed tiny homes on trailers, and we built about 4 of those for Ballarat locals. After I got registered, I started Oasis Building Group in 2019. That was just before COVID. And after COVID, I decided to invest into technology that will help with timeframes and cost and sustainability in the construction industry.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Can you tell me a bit more about Oasis Construction and the types of projects that you run?
Absolutely. So Oasis Building Group is a medium to large construction firm. We specialise in renovations, new builds, all across the Ballarat region. So we supply homes and renovations to the Ballarat and wider community.
So Australia has a real problem at the moment in terms of our housing shortage. The government at the moment has a target of building 1.2 million new homes to address things like our growing population and the needs of the community. What are you seeing here in Ballarat in terms of that lack of housing availability?
Absolutely. There is a huge rental shortage here in Ballarat at the moment, and also we do find that there is, of course, a housing shortage. We do feel that we won't solve all the problems, but at least we can help be a pressure relief valve for the housing industry using new and innovative technology.
So I'm excited to come to the new technology in a moment. But before we get there, thinking about the work that you do with Oasis Construction, where are the bottlenecks? What are the challenges in terms of building the homes for the future of Australia?
Absolutely. So it would be supply chain issues, trade shortages. Trade shortages is a big problem that we've had throughout COVID and through Ballarat. We have a great trade base, so I am fortunate in that sense, but we do know that within the industry itself, we don't have any apprentices that are wanting to either leave school or continue through school and come join the trade. We do feel that it could be potentially a dying art.
Yeah. Australia-wide, I think that's a huge problem, that question of the availability of appropriately qualified tradespeople. And I wonder if there's a real problem in terms of attracting young people to those types of professions. So it seems like perhaps there's a huge opportunity as we start to integrate technology into those trades to perhaps bring a whole new generation of tradies in. Where do you see the future of trades for Australia?
At the minute, it's hard to get a kid to jump on the back of a wheelbarrow or at the end of the hammer. The younger generation could see this machine and go home and tell their parents, hey, that's what I want to be using when I want to go to work. We want to bring excitement back into the industry and using technology to help those younger generation to achieve that.
I could see this fantastic future hybrid, construction technologist, someone who's really native in terms of using all of the technologies, but also ready to get their hands dirty on site and actually see a project come to life before them.
Absolutely, yeah.
So COVID, obviously an interesting time for, introspection for all of us. What happened at that moment? What did you see and what led to the amazing technology that's sitting behind us?
It was a funny time. So obviously in my career, I was about the halfway point. I've been in the industry. I've been on site. I knew the trials and tribulations that we did face before COVID, and then becoming a registered building practitioner, I just had to learn to grow throughout that whole time. We had supply chain issues. Timber was the biggest and hardest product that we did struggle to get. There was bricklayers, tilers. There was a very difficult time for builders in that sense, and not only that, but consumers. So price rises because of shipping, supply and demand. Unfortunately, the end wearer was the consumer in that sense, and we haven't really seen those prices come down since.
So what led you to Cobod and buying a Cobod machine?
It's something that I've been interested in for 10 years. So 10 years ago, I distinctly remember seeing America's first 3D printed castle. He was an engineer. He did it all in his backyard. And I saw that and go, yes, that's exactly where I want to be. So at that point, obviously, I was a little bit early in my career. 8 years later, I visited Austin, Texas, and there's a wolf ranch where 100 homes had all been 3D printed. I visited that in September 2023. I revisited that same site in April 2024, and all 100 homes had all been finished, and permitted, and they were completed. So it was that at that moment, then I decided to purchase this cobot technology.
Phenomenal. So tell me about that journey then. What are the benefits of 3D printing over standard construction methods?
Absolutely. So some of the key benefits is time. So timeframes, we're seeing a 50% reduction in the construction timeframe. So that means clients can move into their houses earlier. It means developers can have their houses on the market earlier. So that's a bit massive thing. Trade labour shortages, as we've already discussed, is a big topic. So what we want to do is we want to bring over our already existing trade base. I want to bring my bricklayers over. I want to bring my concreters over, and I want to use this new technology to help build the numbers that we do need to have in Australia. Some other key benefits are the sustainability. So we can put carbon back into the concrete and help that area there. We also achieve a higher energy efficient home. So we're dealing with a wider cavity for insulation and those sort of areas. Yeah.
So I understand that there's also a reduction in waste as well. You're not using formwork on site. You're using those kinds of enhancements as well.
Absolutely, Claire. So we're finding that we're not cutting a piece of timber to suit and then throwing out the offcut. We're making it on site in situ, and there's minimal waste. So there is a big reduction in waste there.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So at SmartCrete CRC, one of the things that we're really passionate about is innovation, and particularly innovation through partnerships between research and business. And obviously together we have a partnership which involves Swinburne University. Can you tell me a little bit about that project and what we're trying to achieve?
So Swinburne University have been great. They what we're trying to achieve is to get some testing standards for these walls so that we can bring them to site and get a building permit and an occupancy permit with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic. So it's about creating all of the data sets that help build that reliability and assurance in terms of standards, in terms of the National Construction Code.
Absolutely. So at this moment, we have no standard to write out of. So if we wanted to go and get a building permit, we need performance-based designs. We need to go through that whole process. Whereas working with Swinburne, they are the leaders in the 3D construction academia side. So to have them partner up with us has been absolutely great.
Mm. So have you found the partnership journey with the university?
Yeah, really, really good. So Swinburne have state-of-the-art testing facilities. So we have a program currently written up that will help us to achieve of obtaining Australian standards for 3D concrete printing.
Yeah, fantastic. And it's great to hear that you do have access to that world-leading research so that together you can create real innovation and insights in this space.
Absolutely. So I do feel that we have been a bridge from academia to on-site. So having that has been great.
Yeah, that's fantastic to hear. So Ash, can you tell me, through the collaboration so far, what have you learned?
We've learned that these walls are really, really strong. So with the collaboration with Swinburne, we've tested them for lateral forces, horizontal forces, and they exceeded what we thought they would. So that's given the building surveyors a lot of confidence. It's given the engineers a lot of confidence on designing up a structural design for that. So those are definitely some of the things that we've learned.
So what comes next? What are the next innovation gaps that you want to address?
Next for Oasis is going to be actually moving this machine on site. We have a house coming up next month that's going to be permitted, and we're going to be printing the walls on site there. So we're really, really excited. It's a huge milestone for us. It's something that we've been working on for the last 13 months. After this, we will then be looking to print Oasis Building Group's display home.
Fantastic. So we should all look out for a 3D printed home on a street near us sometime soon.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So can you tell me a little bit more about the business that you've just launched, Dune?
For sure. So Dune Building Technologies is a separate company, and that is going to be the 3D printing company. So the industry is always evolving, and not much has changed since the nail gun. So having this machine on site is going to draw a lot of attention, that's for sure, draw a lot of questions, and that's where Dune will come into it.
Fantastic. What does the future look like in terms of a 3D printed future for Australia? How do you see this fitting into the infrastructure space, the residential space, the commercial space?
For sure. We see it will be highly adaptable to the commercial space. That's something that we feel that will really benefit from it all. Developers as well, developments, printing, low cost housing for all aspects as well. Design flexibility is a massive benefit for 3D printed walls. So with Oasis, we're used to doing curves, but that's with plaster and timber, whereas this just comes naturally with the machine and with the programming.
What's the intersection between the work that you do and, say, architects? Are you able to give them far more design control?
Absolutely. So we've been talking with architects, and they're really excited to see this technology. They do love to put in brutalist concrete sort of structures that do have curves in them. So to get a form carpenter to form that up is a big thing. Whereas all he has to do now is have a training on this machine, and he will just use his iPad to do that instead.
So obviously concrete 3D printing, the key is concrete. Can you tell me a little bit about the concrete mixes that you use?
For sure. So currently our mix design is 70-30, so 70% cement, 30% fly ash. And that's something that we've been working with Swinburne and working on developing that. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. To move towards a more sustainable mix.
That is correct, yes. Yeah.
Fantastic. And are there any other considerations in terms of batching, in terms of pumping and placing when you're thinking about a 3D concrete application?
For sure. So there's a lot that goes into the mix design itself. It's a whole nother area of the business that we needed to develop. The biggest thing is making sure we're getting our layer time. So making sure that the original layer underneath has enough time to form up by the time we're printing on that next layer.
Yeah, phenomenal. And I understand you have a mobile batching facility here. You're doing a lot of that mixology on site?
That is right, yeah. So we've got a team of 4, and 2 of those are in charge of the batching of the concrete, the mixing of the concrete, talking with the print team to make sure that they're happy with the mix that is getting extruded out of the print head.
Yeah, fantastic. So in terms of the construction of a home, if we just take a standard dwelling, what are some of the numbers in terms of, how many tradies would you need on site, and roughly how long would it take to develop a home?
For sure, our standard home would be about that 8 to 9 months, and then in terms of trade labour, it could be anywhere between 100 and 200 trades all across that time frame. With this technology, we want to see a 50% reduction in those timeframes. So we're aiming for a 3 to 4 month build, using the same trades, but just building more homes in that time.
Incredible. Yeah. So can you paint me a picture of what 10 to 15 years from now looks like for Dune and for Oasis?
Absolutely. So we envision that we will be using multiple machines all across Australia with multiple print teams, and it's going to be about trying to bring the cost back into the client's hands. So trying to get a reduction on the overall cost, but also the timeframes as well.
How important are some of the regulatory frameworks like standards and the National Construction Code in order to facilitate the rollout of this technology?
For sure, it's been the biggest hurdle that we've faced as a building company and also a 3D printing company. So if we work towards collaboratively and collectively on designing a code written up for concrete 3D printing that we could pull out of the standards and take that to any building surveyor all across Victoria or Australia to use to get a building permit.
Makes sense, and really create greater awareness, but also reduce the risk profile for those decision makers in terms of adopting this technology.
Absolutely. The engineers could then write out and design their engineering design out of code that way, and it would be a great big step forward towards where we need to be.
So who do we need involved in this journey? Who would you like to come and participate in the conversation and really support those regulatory enhancements?
Anyone who's willing to come along for the journey. So whether it would be building surveyors, engineers, industry partners, academia, universities, we're welcome to invite anyone along to join this journey with us.
Fantastic. Ash, thank you so much for showing us around today. We're really excited to see both how your research partnership with Swinburne University goes and how Oasis and Dune are able to continue to innovate in the construction space for Australia.
Thank you, Claire.